I have a question regarding the use of cell phones and how it generates dopamine, and how is it in some way affects our meditations, our ability to meditate.
Excellent question. The question was, to repeat it, I want to know the effects of cell phones on our brains and how it affects our dopamine levels. And you know, I raised 3 kids, and you know, kids use technology. And I was saying this when I was talking to some of you this morning over a cup of coffee, that if your children are using cell phones for information, and basically we are information, that's all we are, and they're accessing information the way they do, and they're using their cell phones in all kinds of ways for stimulation, there should be a period of time where they are able to set it down, just like for you. And if you can't break your romance with your cell phone, then it owns you. Would you agree? Because that's what keeps you connected to networks socially. That kind of social consciousness is maintained through networks. And it feeds us because we love tribe, we love culture, we love connection. But it's got to be done with discernment. So what happens for people is if they can't break from it and go from a narrow focus to a broad focus, like get out in nature, go hike, go get on a boat, I mean, open your focus and look at the sunset. You don't think that creates alpha in your brain? It does. Nature does that. The resonance of the Schumann's constant is the exact 7.8 frequency of alpha brainwaves in training us to connection. So when they've done the research on cell phones, the video gaming to start with, they said to these kids, hey, listen, here's how it's going to go. You guys want to make some money? What do you think the kids said? Yeah, let's make some money, yeah. I said, okay, we're going to get you involved in a video game, and then we're going to ring a bell, and you have 5 seconds to stop. If you stop in 5 seconds, we'll give you $1. And we're just going to go as long as you, however long it went. Do you know that none of the children, none of them were able to stop? That's how addictive it is. So the research shows then that when you begin to blow somebody up, or you shoot someone, or you get a text, you know, that's important text to you, there's a release of dopamine in your brain, the pleasure chemical, the reward chemical is released. But if you're overdoing it, and you're playing a lot of video gaming, and you're blowing something up, or blowing someone up, or breaking through some level, or doing something, the reward systems are being activated in your brain, and you start releasing too much dopamine all at once. And that burst of dopamine into the brain is more than the receptor sites have to handle it. You understand what I'm saying? Come on. So then the over amount of dopamine is not being absorbed by those receptors. The receptors close down. It's too much. They become desensitized. It's like living with a spouse that always yells at you. They got to yell a little louder to get your attention the next time. You need a little bit more now to turn it on the next time. Does that make sense? So then the pleasure centers start recalibrating to a higher and higher level. It takes more now to turn them on. You do a bigger burst to get them stimulated. Are you with me still? So the pleasure centers start recalibrating to such a high level that now the person needs the game, needs the phone to feel something, to make that feeling, because in the absence of any stimulation, they experience a loss of pleasure. You understand what I'm saying? They become desensitized to pleasure. So a walk with your dog. Go tell a kid to go see their grandmother. Watch a sunset. Just way too slow. They're overstimulated. Are you with me still? And that's called adhedonia. You can't find pleasure from anything. Adhedonia. Does that make sense? Now, what happens is, this is the scary part, is that learning should be a reward by itself. Yes or no? But if you just blew up a nation, and you're going to school, and your brain is shut down, it can't get stimulated by information, There's only one way you're going to stimulate it, and that's you got to arouse it. How do you arouse it? Get in trouble. Act out. Do something dumb. Get some attention. Just so you can arouse the brain. The child doesn't know they're releasing epinephrine and norepinephrine just for an arousal. But they're doing it, and when they do that, they're actually shutting blood flow further down in the forebrain. Now, here's the problem. When that child gets older, and they face challenging situations in their life, they're going to look for something else to make the feeling go away, and it's going to be something bigger. Do you understand what I mean? They're not going to want to realize they can do it themselves. They're just going to go to another chemical, something bigger. So then, that dependency that's created from technology has to be inhibited at certain times. I just have certain things that I do now. Like I don't take my cell phone to dinner. I very rarely take my cell phone to dinner. I don't want to disrespect anybody at the table. That's me. I want to connect. That's why I can connect any other time. I sit at the table, I want to connect with you. You're right there. I wish to connect with you, not with somebody else. And now in my home, after a certain time, I put my phone in my bedroom. It doesn't mean if I want to use my phone, I'm going to leave the rest of the house and go to my bedroom after a certain time because I've been making thousands of decisions every day. I just want to be able to disconnect from technology. Are you with me still? And so then, if you keep shifting your attention from one text to another text to another text to another email to another Facebook, what are you practicing? You're actually practicing a short attention span. And the rush of the dopamine combined with the short attention span becomes a very short attention span. Are you with me still? And now the person doesn't want to learn. They want to be stimulated. So the solution, of course, is exactly what you're doing in this work. I joke around all the time, and I draw a picture, and it says, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. Outer world of physical reality, inner world of thoughts and feelings. And then I draw a line where your attention goes every day, your cell phone, your WhatsApp, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, your Facebook, your pictures that you put on Facebook, you know, your email, your computer, your other email, your job, your coworkers, your boss, your enemies, your ex, your husband, your wife, your kids, all your face, your pain, your disease, your diet. That's where all people's attention is. Now, none of those things are bad, but there's a neurological network assigned to every one of them. And when you learn how to disconnect from your cell phone, now you're saying that it no longer owns you. You use it as a tool instead of as something that stimulates you. How many people understand that? So it takes practice. I mean, you have to be able to navigate in a world of technology. I mean, we have so much technology in my company now, and I mean, I'm always learning about it, and it's faster than me. It's a big deal. But we can't lose our connection to the earth. We can't lose our connection to one another when we're sitting in the presence. I mean, I don't know about you, but in the United States sometimes I can't believe I'm sitting in a restaurant and there's 4 people sitting at a table and all 4 of them are on their phones. And they're having dinner together. I'm thinking, wow, that must be a really deep conversation you guys are having over there. Are you texting one another? What are you doing? Sending each other links? I mean, connection is so important. And physical connection is important. So we have to balance it out, and you can recalibrate those pleasure centers by finding pleasure in other things, like with what you're doing. And there's nothing wrong with dopamine. It's just that you can't overdo it, because you'll get kidnapped. You literally get kidnapped by technology. And remember that book called Future Shock? I don't know. And there was a movie that Orson Welles did, and he was young, and this was in the 70s or something. Anyway, I had to read it when I was in college or high school or something. And the author reached out to me and said, hey, I'm doing a thing called Aftershock, and I've been familiar with your work. Are you willing to write an essay? And I wrote an essay about just what we talked about. And he said, I love this. This is because we're victims to the very technology we created. Isn't that crazy? It is crazy if you think about it. So you got to be able to use it, but you got to be able to disconnect to it and stay in balance.